YouTube? Yeah, I've worked my way back into the WGS arcade. We're back with more Sakura Angels. We were sort of introduced to those two girls who saved us from the demon, or what is called as a shadow. And that's pretty much all we know, is that they've been protecting us for quite some time. So that's pretty much the extent of what we know about them. But now we're going to be introduced to two new students who I believe will be exactly who I think they're going to be. What did you say your names were? I'm Sayaka. It's nice to meet you all. I hope we can get along. I bolt upright in my seat, my head snapping towards the front of the classroom. That upbeat voice. Is it really? Yep. And I gotta say, I approve of those school uniforms. Sure enough, two girls I never thought I'd see again are stood before me. In my school. In my classroom, no less, wearing the school's official uniform. The cheerful one, Sayaka, bows politely to the class, flashing me a grin as her eyes pass over me. What? What is this? The other girl is less courteous, her arms crossed and her brow furrowed. She doesn't look pleased to be here. At all. Her gaze passes over me too, but rather than a smile, she gives me a nasty glare. Is she blaming me for this? It sure feels like it. The grumpy one besides me is Hikari. Go on, say hi. Hey, don't. Sayaka gives her a playful push as she stumbles to the center of the classroom, everyone's eyes upon her. Pardon me. She looks like she's at a loss for words, her mouth opening and closing as her face gradually goes red. I guess she doesn't cope well under the spotlight. I'm Hikari. I'm nice to meet you all. She trails off into a murmur before spinning on her heels and storming her way back to Sayaka, practically hiding behind her. See, that wasn't so hard, was it? Hikari simmers with a silent rage, her hand balled up into tight fist, practically shaking. I'm sure if she wasn't in a classroom full of people, things would have gotten violent here. With their introductions over, the teacher motions for them to take their seats. Wait a second. I only just realized where the only spare seats in the classroom are. One of them is right behind me with the window view too, and the other is to my right. So that means they'll both be sitting beside me? Actually, this is pretty convenient. I can finally ask them just what the heck they think they're doing. Sayaka, with a spring in her step, waltzes towards the desk behind me. Hikari stomps her way over and takes the other desk. I lean out from my desk to try and catch their attention, but I'm cut short by the teacher, who resumes whatever it is he was talking about. Damn it. I don't want to get into trouble for talking during class. I'll have to wait until the break. That's 2 lessons away, though, which is practically an eternity. I swing back around to the front of my desk. I can't do anything right now, so I'll just pay attention to the teacher and... no. How can I pay attention to anything when these two magical girls are sitting near me? I want answers now. Drumming my fingers against the desk as the teacher continues to drone on, try to think of a way around it. It's better if I don't speak during class, so... Of course, it's so obvious. I dig into my school bag and pull out my notebook and pencil. I'll just pass them a note. Simple and silent. It's a bit of an immature means of communicating, I'll admit, but I'm desperate here. I scribble down my message. What are you guys doing here? I may as well get straight to the point. I tear the page out, almost ripping it in half in the process. Only one question left. Who do I give this note to? I think it's best to give it to the more cheerful Sayaka, because I think Hikari would just stare at us in a meaningful way. And I don't mean... Well, she would basically just stare at us. So let's just... Sayaka was more forthcoming with information. While it's going to be harder to pass a note to someone directly behind me without looking too suspicious, I get the feeling Sayaka might actually want to respond. Kicking back in my chair, I lean backwards and slip the note onto her desk whilst keeping my eyes forward, as if I were a good student who was actually paying attention to the lesson at hand. At least. I think I managed to give her the note. After a minute or two of twiddling my thumbs, I began to lose faith in my plan. Maybe this was... Something suddenly taps my shoulder, the same page I had torn out, but out from my pad before floating down to my desk. Success! Written below my own hastily scrawled, just barely legible message is one in far neater handwriting and accompanied by a smiley face. We're here to protect you, silly. Protect me? Right. I remember her saying something about them being my guardian angels, and that they'd be keeping a closer eye on me, but this is ridiculous. I scribbled down my reply, writing so fast I have to cross out a word several times before I finally get it right. Okay, I get that part, but do you really need to be this close? How did you guys even manage to get enrolled? Did you forget how close you were to being chomped on this morning? We're not going to let that happen again. And as for how we got in, well, let's just say we can... I think we can be very persuasive, not that we can very persuasive. Who actually writes whatever. At least she gave me an answer. Somewhat. Now that I think about it, the teacher did look a little confused as he introduced them. I'm guessing they wormed their way into here with whatever magic powers they have. That's a bit scary, actually. Magic. I use that word so casually. I guess I have no way to get comfortable on a bed while I'm on a laptop. Here. Am I just accepting its existence now? I guess I've given the evidence. It's a bit hard not to, but I'm still going to remain skeptical. The first lesson of the day goes on as agonizingly slow pace. I can't focus on a thing no matter how hard I try. After whatever it seems like an eternity, the bell finally rings, announcing the end of the lesson. There's still another lesson to go before break time, though, which makes it impossible to talk with the girls, especially since the next lesson is PE, where the boys and girls are separated. Why is life so complicated? He thinks it's complicated now. Wait till he gets out of school. After reluctantly getting changed for PE, I'm soon in the schoolyard with the male half of our class. Much like the first lesson, I find it hard to pay attention to the PE teacher as he goes through our basic warm-up exercises. I follow the exercises just about with as much enthusiasm as a zombie. Rest of the lesson is sort of a blur, at least until some of the male students start looking towards the track field where the girls are. They're staring in amazement, some even rubbing at their eyes as if it couldn't be real. What's so amazing? What are you guys all looking at? I muscle into the crowd that's formed so I can actually get a good look at the field. No way. The girls are running on the track, which isn't an amazing thing in itself, but it's who's running on the track that's making it such an unreal sight. Ooh. She don't leave much to the imagination, does she? Sayaka is blazing across the track, practically a blur as she leaves the others in a dust. She's literally running circles around them. She doesn't look tired or exhausted at all either, save for the beads of sweat creeping up. In fact, she has a big smile on her face, clearly enjoying it all. As if it wasn't obvious before, these girls are on a completely different level. I'm sure she's breaking several kinds of records right here. The other girls in the group helplessly trail behind her, their expressions ranging from sheer confusion to envy. Some of the girls are, well, I guess were now, the top of their class when it came to track too, but she's making them all look like snails in comparison. I can't imagine how they must feel being showed up by someone who hasn't even been here a day. I can hardly keep my eyes on her. She seems to get a little faster with each loop she makes around the track. It won't be long now before she becomes one big blur encircling the place. Is she even human? I'm seriously beginning to doubt it here with this superhuman display. I think even the top athletes in this country couldn't compare to her. While Sayaka is hogging the spotlight here, there's someone missing in all of this. Her far grumpier counterpart, Hikari. If anything, shouldn't she be neck and neck with Sayaka? I scanned the ones trailing behind, but I can't find her either. Just where? Oh. Behind the other girls being left in Sayaka's dust, I see someone dragging their feet, a sour expression on their face. She's just walking, her arms folded like usual. I wonder if her arms are glued like that. She isn't even trying. She must really not have wanted to enroll here. It must have been Sayaka's idea entirely. What are you all staring at? Come on, let's get back to it. Apparently, all forgetting that we had our own lesson at hand, the teacher called us back to reality, forcing us to reluctantly stop gawking at the girls. The rest of the PE lesson goes by without anything much of note happening. Then finally, the lunch break arrives, and before we head to the lunch break, guys and gals, we're going to go ahead and call it an episode. And when we come back to the arcade, we're going to sit with these two girls for the lunch break and finally possibly get more intel as to this whole situation that we're in. So with that being said, I am your friendly neighborhood wrestling gamer, and I will see you at the next warp zone. Bye, guys! Not your own shadow, silly. That thing we just took care of, which your purrs, plural leapers.
Get off of me!